Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, my name is Styliani BOCHOTİ and I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Western Macedonia. The topic that I have chosen for this conference is the social aspect of counseling and vocational guidance. So, are you ready to get started? The proverbial phrase that characterizes the philosopher Heraclitus, "everything flows, nothing remains," is nowadays more relevant than ever before. Rapid technological development, globalization, pandemic, conversions, and rearrangements in society are just some of the changes that are taking place in people's lives. In an environment that is constantly changing and transforming, education, counseling, and vocational guidance acquire a lifelong dimension and application because they emerge as key factors in the development of individuals as well as of the countries that are called upon to be expedient of normalizing the contradictions and crises caused by globalization in various areas of economic and social reality. Undoubtedly, the professional choice is one of the most critical decisions that the individual is called to make, as it has a decisive influence on the evolution of his life and at the same time is directly related to his personal prestige within society. It is located in the final stage of a lifelong evolutionary process uh, of professional development, which is distinguished in obvious stages from early childhood to maturity. However, only in recent years and beyond, the acceptance of new theories and research data is recognized the long duration of this process and its importance. Today, it is now known and generally accepted that the years of the first school age of the individual are an important period of development and change, during which are generally created the first forms for the future academic and social accomplishments. Throughout this period, perceptions, attitudes, and skills are established, which have a permanent impact on both the professional development of the individual and the planning of his professional career. However, professional development keeps pace with the general development of the young person, the formation of his personality, and his self-realization. Through the multitude of related definitions and their combination, we consider as professional the development of those aspects of human personality which are related to personal choices, entry and advancement in educational, professional, and amateur pursuits. The basic dimension in this conceptual performance and at the same time its main characteristic is expressed by the total time of existence and of the individual. Therefore, professional development is a lifelong process. In other words, professional development is the lifelong process that includes psychological, social, educational, economic, physical, cultural, and random factors that are combined, thus configuring the career of the individual. Vocational counseling covers all stages of professional preparation, includes all the dimensions of the counseling process, and at the same time adds a formation of educational and professional nature. It is a form of intervention, a deliberate action which aims to enhance the professional development of the individual or to enable the individual to make effective professional decisions. Essentially, it is a planned process which includes building a close relationship between consultant and client, evaluating the nature of the problem, setting goals, projecting alternatives, selecting and implementing an action plan, evaluating consulting process and its termination. As a result of this process, self-knowledge, knowledge of one or more professions, choice of a profession, enhanced certainty about professional choice, solution of professional problems, and the balance between professional and personal life are expected. The contribution of the professional orientation of the individual from the tender childhood, it is particularly important at his development takes place in a social environment that is constantly expanding, while at the same time the value systems that supports this social whole influence and shape his personality. Choosing a profession is not just a decision in the accordance with his psychological development and the formation of his personality. Decision making is therefore the product of a lifelong term interactive process. Well, professional development is determined more by the combination of factors which affect the individual and by the interaction of binding or restrictive and facilitating encouraging situation. The above factors can be classified into individual and extra-individual factors. The first category refers both to the biological and hereditary factors, which can in no way affect neither the individual nor his environment, as well as the acquired personal factors, which are permanent or evolving characteristics of the individual's personality and are the results of environmental interaction and inheritance. They include special innate abilities, physique, individual characteristics, skills, interests, values, self-perception. The second category contains the family, the school, the society, random incidents and effects that affects the behavior of the individual directly or indirectly. It is the personality that has a decisive influence not only on the quality of education and competence, but also on how these necessary supplies will be used in practice during their professional life to lead to success. The social and economic changes that have taken place over the last decades have created new conditions for people's working lives and have also affected the existing perception of professional development. Professional development is attributed to the concept of continuous development, which includes the professional course of the individual from the very first school years until adulthood. It is a continuous process which begins very early in the life of each individual and lasts as long as his life. Choosing a profession is an event of particular importance to the individual. It begins to occupy him from adolescence and from this specific choice will laterally depend on his future career and social well-being. It presupposes specialized knowledge which are not physical qualities of the individual but acquired socio-physic type formations. At a theoretical level, the approach of this function is rendered with a global or pyramidal shape of values, skills, knowledge, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Specifically, the young person in the immediate and then wider social environment in which he develops creates personal images, perceptions, and conclusions about the entire external system that surrounds him. During the development of the individual, which coexists with the professional development, decision making is a lifelong process with the main point of time being the choice of professional direction. A person who decides remembers and is influenced in making its decision by the outcome of similar choices in the past. The term careerability is rendered as the readiness of the individual to respond to the conscious and constant exploration of himself and the environment in order to face the changes in his career and to successfully handle the unpredictable adjustments and transitions that may be created by changes in work conditions. However, not all people adapt in the same way. Some people differ in their willingness to manage changes, while others change more or less when change is needed, and therefore become more or less involved in life roles over time. A special, well, as you can see, 45.6% of the research participants were males, and 54.4% were females. They cover the age between 25 to 45 years. Specifically, 70 respondents were between 25 and 35 years old, and the rest of them, the 55 respondents, were between 36 and 45 years old. 68% of the sample had a basic degree from a higher education institution, while 32% were graduates of a technological education institution. 42% also had a master's degree, and 4% of the sample had a doctorate. 54% of the sample had only a basic degree. 18% of respondents held a loneliness job. 53% served in a middle position, and 25% worked in a superior position. The rest, 8%, were employed in a high-ranking job. As you can see, the years of professional experience of the members of the sample range from 0 to 29 years, with an average of 8.22 years and a standard deviation of 6.731. Gender had the statistically significant effects on the mean responses of 3 of the 7 subscales of the career decision-making profile questionnaire, which is the questionnaire that has used for this research, specifically in the collection and processing of information. In desire to please others, dependents, and in seek advice from others. Based on this table, it is observed that women had a statistically significantly higher score in gathering and processing information, while men had a higher score in pleasure of others, dependents, and seek advice from others. Now, AIDS had a statistically significant effect on one of the 7 subscales of the questionnaire, and specifically in seek advice from others. As shown in table, participants aged 25 to 35 years answered that they sought advice from others to a lesser extent compared to participants aged 36 to 47 years. Regarding professional experience, the Pearson correlation showed that there was a statistically significant and small negative correlation with the final decision speed of the questionnaire. Based on the multiple Bonferroni comparisons made, it was found that those with a master's degree were described significantly more than the collection and processing of information compared to those with only a basic degree. Also, those who had a master's degree were described significantly more by the speed of final decision making than those who had a doctorate. At the same time, those who had a doctorate stated that they were described as significantly less from the willingness of to compromise in relation to the holders of a master's degree and the holders of the basic degree. The job position of the sample had a statistically significant effect on 2 of the 7 subscales of the questionnaire. As shown in the table, These were collection and processing of information and seek advice from others. The multiple Bonferroni comparisons performed showed that those serving in senior positions were described more from the collection and processing of information compared to the holders of a lower service position. At the same time, the holders of a high position were described significantly more from seeking advice from others compared to other service positions. So, the social and economic changes that have taken place over the last decades have created new conditions for people's working lives. The spectacular development and ever-expanding applications of new information and communication technologies, the consequent globalization, the demographic change, and the pandemic included dramatic changes in nature of working life, placing the human workforce in front of new demands. Adults seem to be described quite a bit by the collection and processing of information and the pursuit of the ideal profession and to a lesser extent by the desire to please others' dependents and from the internal head control. Gender seems to influence the answers of the respondents, as it seems that women are more flexible and have developed more important professional um, decisions and to develop more professional adaptability skills to a higher degree. The results of the research are quite positive and encouraging in terms of the characteristics of decision making. Um, the negotiation of obstacles, new goals, and new opportunities for search. The adults of the prefecture of Kozani seem to, according to their answers, to have the ability to make decisions based on on their personal criteria in adverse conditions or any failures. The people who participate in the research do not present contradictory answers. On the contrary, they give a picture of coherence in their attitude towards the general issue um, of professional choice and its evolution. It should be emphasized that the role of professional counselors is very important in the empowerment of the individual in order to control his personal life when he is faced with multiple transitions. This concept enables career counseling to help people develop management strategies such as professional adaptability, to take positive action for themselves and to make the most of their potential to plan their own careers independently. So thank you for your attention. And now, how about you? Do you need a professional counselor?